After months of planning and hours of watching PC videos on YouTube, I finally built my first gaming/video editing PC and joined the PC Master Race. After over a year of editing on my Dell Latitude E6400 with a measly Centrino Core 2 Duo processor, 4GB of RAM and a 160GB hard drive, I thought it was time to upgrade. At first, I thought I would get a new laptop so it would be easier to travel with, because my old laptop had to be plugged in at all times. But then one of my friends suggested that I build a PC. Like everyone who's never built a PC before, this sounded very intimidating at first, but after watching some build guides on YouTube, I decided that I would build my own. My birthday was just around the corner, so I decided to start saving up with a budget of around €600, which is around £530 or $630, which is a pretty common price point for most PC builds. I found out all of the components you needed to build a computer and tried to fit it into my budget. I went through at least 5 different PC builds. One thing that is great about building your own PC is that it's fully customizable, so if you wanted it for gaming, you could spend more money on the graphics card, or if you wanted it for video editing, you could spend more money on the processor and the RAM. In order to build a gaming PC, you will need the following components: a processor, also known as a CPU, a graphics card, also known as a GPU, RAM, random access memory, motherboard, storage, hard drives and SSDs, power supply, and a case. In this video, I will show you my new gaming/video editing computer and compare it to my old laptop. First of all, I will tell you what all the components of a PC do, and then show you what parts I chose. Firstly, the processor. The processor acts like the brain of the system, and is by far the most important part of the computer, sending signals to control the other parts of the PC. Secondly, the graphics card. As you can probably tell, this increases the graphics performance and frame rates in video games played on the PC. Thirdly, the RAM, also known as the memory. This is like the short-term memory of the system, storing all of the information the computer is currently using so it can be accessed quickly. And the more programs you are running simultaneously, the more RAM you will need. But after the PC is turned off, all of this data is lost. Fourthly, the motherboard. This is what the processor, RAM, and pretty much everything in the computer connects to. Fifthly, storage. The storage stores all of the files on your computer. The 2 most common storage options are hard drives and SSDs, solid state drives. Hard drives are much slower than SSDs, but are cheaper. SSDs are really quick, but are a bit more expensive. But I highly recommend that you get an SSD in your build because it just makes everything much speedier. Sixthly, the power supply. This is like the heart of the system, delivering the electricity from the wall to all of the components in the computer. Lastly, the case. This stores all of the parts in the computer in it. Second, I will be showing you the parts that I got. For the processor, I went for the Ryzen 5 2400G with 4 cores, 8 threads, Vega 11 graphics and a base clock of 3.6 GHz, which is a very solid base clock for a processor. I used the included Wraith Stealth cooler for cooling as I won't be overclocking the CPU. For the graphics card, I went with the Asus GTX 1050 2GB, which by itself is decent, but paired with the Vega 11 graphics from the Ryzen 5 2400G is pretty strong. For the RAM, I went with one 8GB stick of Corsair Vengeance LPX DDR4 memory, which I probably will upgrade to 16GB for better video editing performance later on. For the motherboard, I went with the MSI B350M Pro VDH, a micro ATX board with AM4 socket and DDR4 boost. For the storage, I went with a 1TB Western Digital Blue hard drive and a Crucial MX500 250GB SSD, which is super quick and boosts my games and Windows up in seconds. As a tip, if you have a build with a hard drive and an SSD, always install the operating system on the SSD for much quicker performance. For the power supply, I went with the EVGA 500 watt 80 plus bronze power supply. And although this is very powerful, I did not realize that it is a non-modular power supply, meaning that all of the cables are already attached to it, making cable management very difficult, which decreases airflow inside of the case and builds up dust. For the case, I went with the Corsair Carbide Series Spec 03, which has two case fans included, a red LED one at the front and one normal one at the back. For the monitor, I went with the Asus VP247HA, a very solid 1080p monitor. For the keyboard and mouse, I went with a combo. Havit HV KB558CM, a rainbow LED lit keyboard and mouse, and at under €30, this is an absolute bargain, and I highly recommend you get it. The prices weigh out like this. The Ryzen 5 2400G was €151.48. The GTX 1050 was €100. The Corsair Vengeance LPX memory was €90.73. The MSI B350M Pro VDH motherboard was €70.63. The 1TB hard drive was €42.91. The 250GB Crucial SSD was €61.71. The EVGA 500 watt power supply was €51.02, and the Corsair Spec 03 was €53, leading up to a grand total of €621.48. To show you just how powerful my new PC is compared to my old laptop, on my laptop the Hogwarts video at 1080p at 25 frames per second took just under 2 hours to render, while on the PC took just under 30 minutes to render. My old laptop took 2 minutes and 41 seconds to boot up and 22 seconds to log in. My PC takes 26 seconds to boot up and 1 second to log in. My old laptop took 20 seconds to boot up Google Chrome. My PC takes just over a second. My old laptop took 38 seconds to shut down. My PC takes 6 seconds to shut down. On medium-high settings, it can run Fortnite at a comfortable 50 to 60 frames per second. I've had a few problems with this PC. I have problems with my monitor, where the power cable needs to be jammed in a certain position in order for it to post. I have had problems with my processor, where it made the graphics look very weird on Fortnite, but I just needed to install the drivers for my processor. Another problem I have with my processor is that the Vega 11 graphics aren't working at all. And that's it. I'm sorry I've been away for a while. I was on holidays and couldn't post and felt like I needed a little break. This was a bit of a different video and I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, the next video will be on Harry Potter, but if you enjoyed it, please give it a like, as I worked very hard on scripting, recording and editing this video. And have an amazing day.